Okay, so let's go over this main screen here. At the top of the Gadget screen you see Scene 1, Track 1. Scenes are basically loops. Down at the bottom you can see the transport controls. You've got your record, stop, play, the lit green loop button, and the tempo button. The loop button arms or disarms looping. So I've got it turned on right now. If I hit play, you'll see that Track 1, Scene 1 just loops. If I turn it off, it will play through once and stop. If there was a scene after it, it would go into the next scene. We'll go over how to set the length of the loop in a moment. But to create a new scene, you hit the little plus in a circle that's right below Scene 1. That creates a new empty scene. The two paper icons next to it will duplicate the scene. And then we'll go over some more scene track related stuff in a moment. But let me just cover the mixer section down at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and add another couple of devices here. A Wolfsburg Polysynth and a Zurich Universal Audio Recorder. I'm adding these because I want to show you the differences between these types of devices a little later in the tutorial. So starting on the left here, you've got your master channel. This is your master volume, the up and down fader. The knob here is for a reverb send, which that's what the reverb here that's lit up, that's what that pertains to, and you can kind of turn up the master amount of that there. But on all these devices, the right knob is the send. So just for an example, the Zurich audio recorder, if I arm the line in by hitting record down here in the bottom, you can now hear me talking. I'm going to display the reverb send by turning it up on the channel, and suddenly we're deep in a cavern. So the send works pretty well. Down at the bottom of the master channel, you've got your solo mute off button. And then, of course, on all the channels you see there's solo mute, and they work as you would expect. At the top of the master channel, you see it says off. If you hit that button, you get a limiter that comes with Gadget, but the Deemax below is a add-on. This cost, I believe, $19.99. It's a sonic maximizer. I use it in its basic mode, which is just as it is here, but you can turbo boost it, which distorts things. Like I'll turn this up a little. Actually, that won't apply to my audio. I guess if I arm this channel, you can hear me boosting the signal now. Turbo makes it even louder and gets kind of distorted. This switch here is supposed to be a safe mode where it's pretty non-destructive to your audio, even if you turn it way up. Like I said, I usually just use it in this basic mode, and I don't usually exceed 23, 25, somewhere like that. Depends on what you're working on. Let's disarm that channel. The lightning bolt icon turns it on or off. And to hide it, you just hit edit. That also brings it back up. Alright, so let's look at the device channels. The left knob on each channel is your pan, left and right. Underneath that is your volume fader. We already went over the solo and mute and Midi buttons. The IFX button is nice. These are insert effects. You get up to 5 per device or per channel, per track. They have all of these available, which these are very useful. I use them a lot. If I had to make one complaint, it is that a lot of the Korg devices have other effects. So there are other effects available, I guess is my point, and I'm surprised that they're not available here in the insert chain. It's considerably more limited because some of the devices have multiple types of delay, multiple types of distortion, some filtering options. Those would be really nice to have out here. that's about it on the mixer section. At the bottom, the transport controls do what you would expect. You can arm record, stop button stops it, play button plays it, the loop button makes it loop when you play. Your tempo button has some options. This is where you choose your tempo or your BPM. You can do a tap tempo, you can set your swing amount, you can also turn the metronome on, and it'll play when you hit play. Now, we'll go over some more advanced functions on this screen that are super useful. If you hit the function key, you see you get a lot more options here. Staying at the bottom with the mixer, you can hit change on any of the devices and choose a different device. So I'll switch it to the London drum machine instead. You can also delete a device. It does make you verify that you want to, so that's pretty nice. So you don't accidentally delete anything. You can duplicate a device. And then you can also freeze a device, which I'm assuming is similar to Ableton in that it freezes a device in a certain state with any applied effects or anything so as to allow that to play without it taking up a lot of processor speed and basically bogging your system down. So that would really, I haven't ever used it. I would assume it would apply to more extensive tracks if you have a lot of stuff going on. And then finally at the bottom you see these arrows. These are used to reorder the devices. You can switch them around basically. I'm going to change this back to a receive. And then I'm going to hit function again, and now we'll go over these options up in the top where the scenes are. So starting in the top left, you see it says 4/4 times 1. If you tap that, you get the option to name the scene, set the time signature, and the number of times that it repeats. Let's do 2. Now you'll see when I have this loop button selected and then I hit play, it'll take longer to play through because it's playing through twice. You can insert a channel, which would be an empty one. You can duplicate an existing one. As you can see, it's a copy instead of a brand new one. And then you can delete channels, obviously, and it does again make you verify. Get rid of both of those. Now looking at the track options, you have your bar options. There is the same screen is available within the piano roll editor for the devices, and we'll go over this more there, but you can choose the number of bars, the play mode. You can mute just track 1 on scene 1, which is different from muting the actual channel down here, because that mutes the entire channel. This would literally mute only track 1, scene 1, which if you were copying and stuff and you just didn't want to have to clear it or anything like that, you can just mute it, which is a pretty nice little feature. I'm going to unmute that. If there was any MIDI notes, you would see them on these scenes here. You can clear them by hitting clear. Again, it makes you verify. Obviously there's nothing there, so it's not clearing anything, but that's how you do it. Relatedly, if I had MIDI notes on the drum machine here or on the synth, I can copy and then paste them to the next scene down or any scene that's visible here. So that's a nice feature, but what's even better is, let's say I had, you know, the Wolfsburg synth here, and let's say I had another device for some other, like a bass synth or something. If I like the melody line that I have on the Wolfsburg, I can actually copy it and paste it to another device. So you basically can duplicate your melody line to a different device and then tweak it and change it and have 2 different voices with the same melody or a similar melody or a related melody. So you get the point. And that's about it on this screen. So we'll move on to the next section, which is discussing the actual piano roll editor screen.